Welcome to another edition of Talking with Kevin and Son and the People You Should Know. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. Our mission, through the power of your story, we want to uplift you through the power of your voice, inspire, share stories and experiences and perspectives using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose, very simple, hope, helping other people every single day. This episode, we are sharing the secrets of highly successful people. Whatever your objectives are, successful people create a framework around their day to day lives that either enhance their lives or sometimes, like my guest today, they pour into others. This podcast will reveal the secrets to a highly effective life. Today's guest will reveal through her story simple and doable steps as to how to turn bad habits into good, mastering small behaviors that lead to big outcomes. Our guest, she is wonderful. She has a NASM certified professional trainer certificate. She is a certified nutritional coach with an undergraduate degree in biochemistry and health administration from the Penn State University. Today, our guest will talk about why she is so passionate about women, health, and fitness. She will also talk about the key points to macronutrients and fitness, and also hormone imbalances and balances within women. And if you stay around long enough, our guest will share with you her secrets to strength training and staying fit and fit for life. Hello, my name is Kevin McLemore. I am your show host. I am an award-winning published author 4 times, paid professional speaker, and also with 40 years of experience in the space of health and fitness. But today I am going to forego my expertise in this business to someone that is much greater, much smarter, and much more enthusiastic than I'm ever going to be. Not only is she one of the top fitness professionals in this business, she's also passionate, 100% committed to this business and this lifestyle. And she's also a personal friend. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to our expert and my friend, Bianca Carbone. How you doing, B?
I'm doing good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I'm going to tell you, your bio is very impressive, and I'm honored and I'm excited to have you on the show today, and
I'm
it's much
excited to be
appreciated.
here.
You are? How excited are you?
11 out of 10.
11 out of 10. I like when you exceed expectations. It's a direct reflection on how I watch you every single day do your business and how you interact with your clients. You're talking about a person that is 100% committed to her clients. This is an example of what commitment looks like. And that's the reason why we're showcasing her as one of the top 100 people and their secrets to success at RMK Productions. And I welcome you. I want our guests to get a chance to be as excited about you as I am, because I know your story. So let's hear a little bit about who you are, athlete, gym rat. How did you come into owning this space of health and fitness? What is your story?
All right. So my story, 24 years short, but here we go. So I've always been a very active person growing up. When I was a kid, I can remember bopping around in my room to Katy Perry and just always wanting to move my body. I did gymnastics, cheerleading, and then going on into high school, moved on to more contact sports like lacrosse and basketball. I wasn't ever the best, and that's okay, but I still just loved moving my body. So I found out that it wasn't necessarily the sport that I loved, it was just the way that it made me feel on the inside. And I wanted to continue feeling that way forever. My older brother got me into weightlifting when I was 15 years old, and I instantly fell in love. Barbell back squat, your barbell bench press, like all the basics he taught me. I'd stuck with that moving on into college. I did not play college sports, but I did get into CrossFit. I learned a very valuable lesson when I was in college. I learned the value of having a community and support around fitness because without a team, it's definitely challenging to do it on your own. And I also learned the value in having a balanced approach to fitness. I experienced what it felt like to overtrain. I experienced the effects of stress and burnout for pretty much the first time in my life. I gained weight. I had acne all over my face. It hurt my social life. It was a really challenging time to deal with. So anyway, I figured out how to have the right mindset and approach to fitness, live a balanced lifestyle, and that kind of gave way into wanting to do this as my passion and help others do the same. I turned a new leaf a couple of years ago in the women's health space because I learned the impact of fitness on your hormones and how women definitely have a different relationship with fitness than men. So here I am. I'm over here helping women align their fitness with their hormones, support hormone imbalances, and on my way to conquer the world.
All right. And you're off to a one hell of a start. And that's the reason why I had you in here, because we've talked off camera about balances and imbalances. But before we get into your expertise, you and I both face the same conversation many times with not only our male clients, but our female clients. But we want to focus today on our female clients, or females that are entering the space, or females that are fearful of entering the space. The fitness business is a multi-billion-dollar business, and it's basically set up on fear. There's a conversation about how your body is supposed to look. What is the perfect waistline? What is the perfect size of your glute? How your face should look, and whatever. There's a lot that is destroying the character and the image of how a woman perceives herself. I know for me, as a fitness professional, I always look at the inner beauty, because what's on the inside makes the outside look that much better. There are myths to this business, and the reason why people don't start out as a young person, as you say, you're 24 years of experience in this life as a healthy person. A lot of people don't know what it's like to have one day. So I want to go and do like a little rapid fire thing about some of the myths of fitness. All right. One, with women in fitness, lifting weights, does it make you bulky?
Yep, that's correct. Um, you put me on the spot, Kevin. I would say another myth for women is that you you can't eat carbohydrates or it's going to make you overweight or gain body fat quicker than other
You're
foods.
getting a little ahead of me, because that's one of my next questions.
Good,
Whatever.
good. I beat you
Let
on that one.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about, um, when I have a conversation with women and fitness, when you talk about bulky, is understanding exactly what bulky means. But I've got a young lady that is at 35, 39% body fat, and they're already at a place when they seem larger. Is what exactly does bulky mean? All right. Is putting on muscle a bad thing? Or is putting up muscle on a person's body, is it one of the things that their metabolism of their body needs? So when we ask about bulky, how would you communicate that conversation when a woman's afraid of gaining muscle when she's exercising?
I would say, I always preface and say that whatever bulky or thin or fit means to you is going to be different for everybody. So if a woman comes up to me, she's like, "Well, do you think I look bulky? Do you think I lost weight? Do you think I look like this?" I never comment on anybody's body because it's not my place. Like that is only your place to be. I will comment on numbers, like if we do a body fat percentage or muscle mass or any type of circumference measurement, I'll say, "Hey, like we should probably decrease or increase here for your overall health." But in terms of how those numbers look on your body, I'm not going to put myself out there and comment because it's just not my place. So I always preface and say that. Secondly, to me, what bulky is when you have a decent amount of muscle on your body and then you have layers of fat on top. So to me, bulky is just the opposite of looking super chiseled and toned and leaned. So again, what that means to you is going to be different than what it means to me.
And I'm glad you brought up the second myth, all right, of fitness with women. I normally don't hear this with men, but I want to turn fat into muscle. How's that sound to you?
Good and bad, depending on the context.
So how would you explain to that? I mean, is fat the compound of fat and muscle? Are they're the same? Or how would you explain that to someone?
I would say what you're looking to accomplish is body recomposition. So if you have a higher body fat percentage than you'd like, and you have a lower muscle mass percentage than you should have, you would to burn fat and build muscle at the same time. And that's body recomp. You can't necessarily burn fat to build muscle, but you can do both simultaneously depending on where you're at in your journey.
All right. Are body fat and muscle the same component?
No.
So you mean to tell me that if I gain 5 pounds of muscle, I lose 5 pounds of fat, but they're different as far as weight's concerned? I'm just messing with you.
Well, 5 pounds is still 5 pounds, no matter which way you put it. You could put 5 pounds of clothes on your body and be 5 pounds heavier. The difference is the way that it looks on your body. So, like a molecule of fat is literally bigger than a molecule of muscle. So that's why even though you might be the same body weight as somebody else, if you have more muscle mass, you're going to look thinner and slimmer and more toned compared to somebody of the same body weight who has more fat on them.
All right. So that was a great answer. If I'm a 45-year-old woman, and at the time that, and I don't want to seem sexist to anyone, so don't everyone come after me. I'm trying to create a conversation in this interview that will make you think. Is that I was at a certain body type and body style at the age of 18. And now here I am, 45, going on to 50 or whatever the case may be. And I'm trying to go back to where I was at 18. That conversation of talking to a fitness professional, how would you entertain that question? Is it possible? Or is it a conversation that we need to do a deep dive in?
That's also like a tough question to answer for some people because some people are really gung-ho and that they want to look the same as they did when they were 18, even though they're 30, 40 years older than that. And how I try to address it is I'm like, hey, this is how you were in the past, and that's amazing. And you can still use that as a motivator. But I think that instead of focusing on the past, we should focus on the future. So what do we have right now? Where are you currently at? Realistically, what can we achieve in the next 3 to 6 months? And then we'll go beyond that after the 3 to 6 months are over. But I always say, like, you shouldn't expect yourself to look the same year after year for the whole span of your life. If you look the same, I mean, that's cool, but the majority of people just don't. And whether that's from your lifestyle choices, from your hormonal profile with where you're at, like if you're a woman, you're in menopause or whatever, I think it's just important to acknowledge that bodies change. They should change. Your bone structure changes. You're gonna change no matter what you do. So you should just accept it and try to focus on what you can control to look your best now.
All right. What about no pain, no gain? That's another myth. I've got to really hurt in order to say I've got a great workout and whatever. If I'm not hurting, it means I haven't worked hard enough. I see this on shirts all the time. How do you feel about that?
I think there's a time and a place for no pain, no gain, but for like 90% of the time, you don't need to be in physical pain in order to make gains or get to your goals.
All right. What about time? I don't have time to exercise, but I would love to lose some weight. I would love to get in shape. Um, do you need to work out for 2 or 3 hours in order to get in shape, to change your lifestyle? What do
No,
you say when
definitely
someone
not.
says they don't have time?
I say, well, you're gonna have to put the sacrifice somewhere. So you can either continue on the way that you're at right now, or we can collaborate and figure out a schedule that'll work for you. Because whether you like it or not, you do have 10 minutes, you do have 20 minutes, whether it's daily, every other day, you have enough time. It's just a matter of rearranging the schedule and putting fitness where it belongs in your life.
All right. The last question, my rapid fire opening question. We know who you are and whatever. Big in the industry right now. Don't ask me how I feel about it, but everyone is still focusing on weight loss. And I will tell you, over the 40 years that I've been in this, everyone has lost about 10 or 15 pounds and gained 25 afterwards. Metabolic fasting. All right. Short term, long term goals, permanent goals. Is that the secret to fitness?
I don't think it's the secret. Do you think
Don't
it's
say it so
the
shyly because I will tell you, I
secret?
would say it, and this is the way I explain it to my clients is that if you want to understand how your metabolism works, look at a child. Every 2.5 hours, that child's looking for nourishment. Why are you going to deprive your body of a system that's already permanently, perfectly placed, and then you're going to try to mess it up? So I do know fad diets, 21-day diets, 30-day diets that's in magazines or whatever. Ultimately, as you start to grow older, especially with females, and it happens to males, it becomes harder for your metabolism to justify the change and get you the results that it's necessary. So, why is metabolic fasting so popular right now?
I think metabolic fasting is really popular right now for a couple of reasons. For one, people are obsessed with calorie deficits right now. And by shortening your eating window, you're more likely to eat less throughout the day, thereby helping you get a calorie deficit, which could help you lose weight over time. I think another reason is I believe there were a couple of studies that came out and showed when you fast, you release the some sort of hormone that is supposed to accelerate fat loss. Um, However, upon my research, especially for women's health, long-term fasting is actually harmful for you, depending on what type of hormone imbalance you might have or where you're at in your health and fitness. I just don't think it's sustainable. I don't understand the point in doing it. If you can just spread out your meals and have the same caloric intake no matter what, like why would you just force yourself to not eat until 2 p.m. in the afternoon when you can eat at 9 a.m. and still spread your meals out in an appropriate way?
All right, I'm glad you answered those questions and you fired off answering these questions like a seasoned pro that you are. And that's the reason why I am showcasing you as one of the top 100 people that sharing their secrets to their successful success in life. And I appreciate you, Bianca, for coming on the show. Tell our guests before we go into and do a deep dive to the 3 points that I brought up. How do people get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me through LinkedIn at Bianca Carbone. You can go through Instagram, BLIX_fit, or you can email me at blixfitness@gmail.com.
All right, you have a certification um, dealing with the topic of women in strength training, fitness, and hormones. Let's talk about the effects of being balanced or imbalance when it comes to women in health and the fitness space. Let's talk about that. The introduction. Why did you get this certification, and why is it important for us to have this conversation now?
Yeah, of course. So I've kind of had my history of problems with hormone imbalances, irregular cycles, and almost everything that you've heard of. I've probably had some sort of variation of that. I was recently diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I'm just on a mission to kind of unlearn so many things that I've learned so far and try to really understand how nutrition impacts your body, why 80% of women experience some sort of hormone imbalance, even if they're healthy like myself, and how can we as a society fix that? I mean, infertility rates are on the rise. People are stressed out. It's a really big problem for both men and women. However, being a woman and having the problems myself, it's just something that I personally am attuned to right now.
Speaking of hormone balance or hormone imbalances, how does a woman know that she is not properly lined up, either a deficit or just the opposite? How does one know?
That's another like really interesting question as well, because the whole body works together. So you might have some symptoms that might indicate a problem, but it could also be something totally different, which is why I think women's health is so complicated in the first place. So some signs you can look out for something that's off in your body. The first place you look is your skin. So if you have super dry skin or dry patches, you get a lot of skin rashes, you have acne. Some women might have like facial hair growth or body hair growth. That probably indicates some sort of underlying hormone imbalance. If you struggle to lose weight or you have an excess of weight, especially around the midsection, even though you don't eat egregiously, that could be could be a sign of something underlying with your thyroid. It could be a problem with your sex hormones. More internally, if you have irregular periods or scanty periods or they're too close together, that could indicate some sort of hormone imbalance. And then along that note, if you have PMS symptoms like you're really moody, you're really irritated, you have extremely painful cramps, you've a lot of bleeding or not enough bleeding, that could also indicate some sort of underlying imbalance. I think a lot of women, including myself, especially when I was younger, I wasn't aware of those things. I just kind of thought, oh, like it's just part of being a woman. But the more I learned and experienced, like that's not normal. You shouldn't be experiencing anything that deters you from living your life as normal. And if you do, then it's definitely time to get checked out.
And how do we fix that? Do we turn to the internet because Google knows everything? Or is it best to have a conversation with a seasoned professional like yourself?
I would say it's definitely best to have a conversation with a seasoned professional like myself. I do think there is some sort of merit in doing your own research, though. Like, I know for me at least, if there's something wrong, I'm gonna Google it immediately. And I'm gonna go on other types of forums and communities where I can read other people's experiences. But at the end of the day, the internet is a place of just like an overload of information, with some of it being accurate, some of it being inaccurate, and you never really know what to do with all that information. So I always suggest that, I'm not going to stop you from doing your own research. I think it's good to be acclimated with different terminologies and whatnot. But at the end of the day, you should be working with someone, especially when it comes to your health.
Right. I would say from my experience that 90%, and the number could be higher, that most people are dehydrated when it comes to that. Let's talk about hydration and hormone balances or imbalances. What are the signs first of knowing that you are dehydrated?
Well, the first sign of dehydration is thirst. If you're even thinking about water, you're definitely on the way to being dehydrated.
All right, because I will tell you, I am never thirsty. I have to force myself to drink. It's just my mind is triggered, and I know I need to drink more water. But I also know that going through of being in this business, when I notice someone's got their skin, like you said, it tells it. When your lips are dry, cracking when it's not wintertime or whatever shows a difference. Your skin is ashy, whatever shows dehydration or whatever. But is water the final answer?
No, definitely not. I mean, on the hydration component, I always suggest electrolytes, as well as other like natural forms of electrolytes, like coconut water is awesome for you. Even sometimes adding salt into your water can help retain all the fluid that you're drinking. So I do usually suggest that you supplement with electrolytes.
All right. How do you create that balance with a person's busy schedule of having the conversation of one, talking about a woman's hormones, talking about a regular exercise schedule when we claim to be busy? What is your recommendation when someone has this conversation with you? Is that one, I don't know how many days, I only want to work out 1 day a week and hand me off a program and I'll do it. Um, I can't, eat as often and whatever, and I hate drinking water. I don't like the taste of water. What is the conversation to have with someone that is presenting you with these obstacles?
Yeah, and you get it more than you think you would. Like, I was very surprised at how many people actually don't like the taste of water, or they just genuinely don't like vegetables. Because to me, I love that stuff. So I'm like, how? But anyway, that's honestly when I realized how individualized fitness is. Like, if you want to go follow some sort of cookie cutter program because you already have a good base, that's a different story than somebody who has all like this list of requirements that they need or don't need, and then you kind of have to, it's like a puzzle, you have to put it together for them and with them. So if somebody were to come to me how I like to do things is, first of all, we have a preliminary call. I want to understand what your schedule's like, what you do for work, if you have a family, what you do on the weekends, how often you travel, what do you do when you wake up, what are you doing for lunch, what are you doing when you go to sleep. I get the full picture, okay? And then with that, I'll have you submit some sort of questionnaire where I ask you a whole variety of questions ranging from your skin health to your GI to how well your body's detoxifying to any type of hormone imbalance symptoms you might be having, because a lot of people do have some sort of imbalance or issue that they might not know about. And then you ask them questions and they're like, okay, well, yeah, they get like constant heartburn and you're like, okay, well, there is something wrong here. How can we fix that? So I think some people don't realize the depth of their health ailments unless you kind of help them along that path, if that makes sense. Um, to answer your question full force right now, though, everything I do is personalized. So if you say you only want to work out 1 day a week, I'm like, okay, I can try to fit that in, but I would highly suggest we try 2 because it suggests that you do 2 workouts a week for each muscle group in order to facilitate muscle growth. So I'll take what they say, I'll back it up with scientific evidence, and I'll say, like, please, let's just try this. Here's how it can fit on your schedule. Let's give it a go. So sometimes it is a little bit of trial and error, but for the most part, I try my darndest to make sure I can fit it in the first time.
All right. So great answers. Um, Most people avoid hiring a professional such as yourself. And a lot of that has to do, and I'll say that the first obstacle is fear, fear of failure. I'm coming to you, and we're going to role play a little bit. I'm coming to you at the most vulnerable part of my life. I don't feel attractive anymore. I can't wear the jeans that I had when I was younger, and it's just I would love to get started, but I, I'm afraid because I think you're going to be too hard on me. How would you approach that question with someone such as myself? Don't look at me as a male. Look at me as a female client. I know that's going to be hard to do. My long flowing hair and everything else. But I've heard you had this conversation. There's a reason why I want you to share this conversation with our listeners, because a lot of people never get started on an exercise program or never make change. It's because of one thing, fear. And they don't want to fail. Help me out. Have that conversation with me of that person that right now I'm closer today to ever being on an exercise program than I've ever been before. But I'm still backpedaling on my success in my life strictly because I think you're going to be too tough for me. I think it's going to be hard and I don't want to fail. How would you address that conversation to me personally?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you also reminded me of a side point that I want to say too, that fear drives a lot of people, but so does pain. And I think pain is one big reason why people do end up sticking to a program. But anyway, so to go back to the role play things, I'll say something along the lines of, what would change for you if you were able to achieve your goals in the next 3 to 6 months?
I would probably be a lot happier with myself. Um, but I'm trying to get my kids through college the next 6 months, so I've got to kind of wait for that. What would you say?
Wait for what?
Well, my kids, are my life. They're everything to me. So it's like I got to put my needs on hold for theirs.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
But how is it impacting your relationship with yourself and with your kids by not feeling your best or looking your best?
Well, when I was growing up, my mom always put everything off for the family, and I've learned that. Um, and that when I had kids of my own, I didn't realize, oh, I used to be so active when I was younger, but the kids take so much of my time. And yeah, you're right. I really don't feel that good about myself, but I got to put them first.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. What if you were to just have 20 minutes to yourself every single day?
I would probably nap more.
Okay, well, do you feel tired frequently if you feel like you want to nap?
Well, I do feel tired, but at my age, I'm slowing down. I'm at the second half of my life. I'm almost 50 years old. I've got a birthday coming up, and yeah, I get tired running around with kids a lot and getting them off to school. I can't wait till 4 years from now that I can have my own life.
Yeah. But hey, 49, 50 years old sounds pretty young to me. So I would suggest we can still put fitness into your life without taking away from your family time. And it's actually going to make your relationship with yourself and with your kids much better and more fruitful, especially before they go to college. So I would highly recommend that we get into at least 20 minutes, maybe 3, 4 times a week. Start strength training, start small, and then we can build your way up from there. And I can guarantee you it's not going to take away time from your family life.
You brought up early in, we talked about balances and imbalances. A large portion of the female population suffers from osteoporosis. I know that I've got family members. When you talk about imbalances and hormones, how does weight training and this healthy lifestyle help with osteoporosis?
Yeah, great question. And then osteoporosis is really common, especially in menopausal women, because your body doesn't absorb vitamin D as well as it used to. And that's all due to declining sex hormones. But strength training strengthens your bones and it strengthens your muscles around your bones so that it will prevent you from having fractures, bone breaks. It'll prevent you from falling over. But strength training is key, especially when it comes to menopausal women and preventing osteoporosis. There's actually plenty of women who reverse osteoporosis and osteopenia through weightlifting. So it's definitely a must.
What's your feeling on spot reduction, um, or focusing just on one body part? I just want to grow my glutes. That's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. How do we address that question?
Well, you definitely can't spot reduce body fat, but you could try to build one single muscle up more than another. I would always suggest, though, a full body approach because if you only focus on one muscle, you can unfortunately increase your chances of having muscular imbalances and then injury. So I would still support a full body approach with maybe a slight focus on a single muscle group if that's what you want to focus on.
Well, I know from listening to this interview, there's going to be a lot of people wanting to get in touch with you to pick your brain, to probably ask a couple questions I probably didn't ask. So I'm going to say to you before I share with our listeners how to get in touch with you and how to hire you as their own personal professional trainer or fitness professional. Is that um, how do people get in touch with you to do a one-on-one session with you?
Yeah, great question. So you can reach out through my LinkedIn at Bianca Carbone, or you can go through my Instagram, Blix_fit, or you can email me at blixfitness@gmail.com.
All right. Well, let's talk about your success and your secrets to success when it comes to not only fitness, but a healthy lifestyle, because I firmly believe what's physical also has to become mental. And a lot of us, both men and women, and you deal with both men and women. I don't want to put it out there that you only work with women because we're talking about hormones, but men need it too. Men with mental health, women and men with depression or not feeling accepted and whatever. How does the nutritional aspect, how does the fitness aspect align itself with image, emotional depression, and just overall health and fitness?
Yeah, that's a great question. So earlier I mentioned how I would onboard or walk through a program with a client, and on those forums, we do ask questions regarding mental health and physical health. So once I have the full picture, then I can use the science to back up how we can solve the problem for you. So if you're somebody who struggles with depression or anxiety, we look at your nutrition. How are you supporting your gut microbiome? How are you feeding your body with nutrition? If you're eating chicken fingers and nuggets, and French fries every other night and you're drinking alcohol all the time, all right, that's the first place we're going to start. How can we improve the variety of your diet so you're getting all of your micronutrients in, your microminerals, your all of that good stuff, so that you can feed your gut, which will feed the happy chemicals in your brain. That's where we look at. Then we look at how can we make you feel accomplished. So we start off pretty small, pretty light. So I want you to feel like you got that positive momentum going, like, okay, I can do this. I just did a 10-minute workout. Let me build up to 20. So everything I do just kind of starts you off like you have training wheels on, and then we'll progress you over time so that you can ultimately do this on your own. But I just try to put in all of the facets of health together, when it's your gut-brain connection, whether it's the way your body's detoxifying, whether it's your hormone balance. We put all of that together with strength training, with macronutrients, with micronutrients, so that you can flourish.
All right. We've covered a lot of information, and from Bianca, our professional, she's, like I said, the reason why she's on here is because, one, she is super passionate about um, health and fitness, especially in the space of women in health and fitness and a lifestyle. She's also committed to making every session, every workout personal. There's not a one fit program for all people. She is a wonderful. I'm going to ask you, because we're showcasing 100 of the top people and their secrets to their success, not only in the fitness space for you, but for life. So I'm going to ask you to list and explain why in each category. What are your secrets to a successful, healthy, fit lifestyle? The show is yours.
Okay. My secret is I love it. I love the way it makes me feel after I move my body. So whether it's a 15-minute walk outside, it's a quick workout upstairs, or it's an hour and a half workout that kicks my butt and it makes me fall asleep at 8 p.m. I know that I'm always going to feel better after I move my body, and it's something that I can always rely on. If I'm happy and I want to feel happier, I move my body. If I'm sad and I need to feel better, I move my body. If I'm stressed and I'm sitting here and I'm really anxious about it, I move my body. So I think for me, it's almost like a therapy. It's physical therapy, it's mental therapy. It's something that I feel blessed that I can do with my very able body. I think it helps you count your blessings and how lucky you are. So if it's something I can do, I want to do it.
All right. So, her number one thing is loving herself first and loving the way she feels in her own body. If I can go ahead and preface that way, that's the way I interpret it. For those of you that are listening to this, you can reach Bianca, on her LinkedIn page. And what is that again?
Bianca Carbone.
All right. Do you have IG or any other social media?
Yep. Instagram is Blix, BLIX_fit.
All right, so we know how to reach her. She's given a lot of information, and I know there's a lot more information. Bianca, is there any question that I did not table that you think our listeners should know or know about you? I forgot to ask you, who's the person that most influenced you? Because every last person on here has been influenced by someone in their life, and I failed to ask that at the top of the show. And by name, who is that person?
Well, the person who got me into strength training in the first place was my older brother, Adrian. He got me into it when I was like 15. So I think that started my whole journey. And then along the way, I've had other coaches and mentors who've positively impacted me as well. But that was the start of the whole chain reaction.
All right. So, Adrian, I just want to let you know I had to ask her this question twice. I wanted to make sure she mentioned you by name. Didn't forget that the fact that she brought you up. But, Adrian, thank you for the gift that you gave us of lending this fitness world and leaving it into a great space with your little sister. You did a great job, because she is by far the best of the best when you talk about professionals. I always say there are a lot of good trainers, but to find a professional, you have to look at my good friend, Bianca Carbone. And like I said, you can reach her on LinkedIn, her IG page, reach out to her. And I will tell any young woman or any man, be it young or old, if you are at a place that you're deciding to make a lifestyle change, I'm not talking about just lose a little weight. You need to reach out to this young lady because, like I said, don't let her youthful appearance fool you. She is full of knowledge, she is motivated, and she will get you to the place where you need to be. I know you said that, 1 or 2 days a week will be ideal. The ideal program is to have Bianca, as far as one of you training with her, at least 3 to 4 days a week. It is investment, and the return on the investment is a better life. Like I said, her number one thing is she loves it. She loves the way it feels, makes it the way she loves herself and how she looks and whatever. And she just loves it. Fall in love with yourself. So, with that said, what do you want people to take away from this interview?
To put yourself first because it makes your whole life better in every single way you could possibly think of.
All right. So, most people have a list. She is straight to the point. That's the reason why she is as successful as she is. And that's the reason why she is being featured as one of our top 100 people that's sharing her secrets to their life. So, to my listeners, I'm going to say, Bianca, you are always welcome to come back anytime to add more information, or hopefully there's a ton of questions. But to our listeners and my loyal fans, I want to thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this show of people that you should know on this show, talking with WIT, Kevin and Son. And if you like what you've heard, go to our YouTube page, RMK Productions and Network, and subscribe and follow. If you liked it that much, share it. And like I said, the struggle is a never ending process. Freedom is never given, it's won. There is no um, um, there's no presence without the presence of sweat. So just remember, put yourself as number one. We know those kids are going to go off to college one day, but your health is with you every single day. Call BC, sit down and have a conversation with you. And if you have any of those questions regarding hormones, you talk about your macros and so forth, when to eat, what not to eat. These are conversations. But the best time to get started on any exercise program is when the conversation is present at hand. Please call Bianca Carbone. And Bianca, like I said, you're always welcome. And to my listeners, hashtag find 1,000 reasons to be kind to someone. Doesn't take a lot of energy to say hello, or, you never know what someone else is going through. And I would say my grandfather always said, when you get to a place that you can help someone else out, he said it's your duty to do so. So with that said, reach one, teach one. And Bianca, again, thank you. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me.
And with that said, we'll fade to black and we're out. Thank you, BC. All right.